Um, so, as you all know, on Tuesday, we try to focus in on some aspects of the current Parsha. Not just in order to understand the Parsha, but primarily in order to understand ourselves. Find ourselves in the Parsha, which is the most important thing. And we have two Parshas this week. And the second Parsha of the novel is called Kdoshim. And the Parsha says, Kdoshim Tihu, you should be holy. And I'd like to focus in on this whole phenomenon. Where the Torah says, Hashem tells Moshe that he should tell the Yidden that they should be holy. Why should they be holy? And how can they be holy? Because I, Hashem, am holy. This is a pasuk in the Torah. And that would sound a little bit odd. Hashem is holy, therefore I can be holy. How is that add up? I am here on earth, and I'm dependent on earthly elements in order to survive. And if I am a little bit uncomfortable relative to earthly elements, I'm totally distraught. I can't really find peace of mind. And I should be holy because Hashem is holy. How is that? What's the rationale here? And yet this is a pasuk in the Torah. We shall discuss this. But one very obvious message in that statement is that for the most part, we don't know who we are. We don't really know who we are. And Hashem is telling Moshe that he should tell Eden, here is who you are. You should be holy. And you know why you should be holy? Not in order to be better people, finer people. You get involved in so to speak, in moral activities, moral type of values, so that you could have praises, so to speak, from the humane society and so forth. No. A totally different perspective. I am holy, and thus you should be holy. What does this say? This says that Hashem is a real presence within each one of us. And as a result of that presence, not only is it incumbent means is it obligatory for us to be holy in order not to profane the godly element that's within us. But more than that, this provides us with the ability to be holy. This is a real participant. The godly holiness is a real participant in our lives, in our orientation, in the strength with which we walk the earth. And I want to discuss this. I'd like to kind of bring you into that consciousness so that we would ourselves recognize the truth of this statement. Not because we learn it in the Torah. Of course, it says in the Torah, therefore it is true. But that's an academic knowledge. We have direct knowledge from personal experience, from personal insight. And it is of utmost importance. The Pasuk only says one thing. Pay attention to who you are. There are many different ways that we can call attention to these elements within us. There is an academic approach, logical approach, all kinds of different approaches. I'll tell you a little experience that I personally had. This was going back to Purim, just a couple months ago. Purim night, I was at my home. Some people come in, before bring whatever it is. And I had a group of boys who came along. These boys are what we call disaffected, disenchanted. They grew up in our midst, but they were some ways disappointed with what they were given. They strayed off. They strayed off, but they are serious boys. They're not stupid. And they make loud announcements, you know, I can't tolerate this, I can't stand this doesn't make sense to me, this is the way I was treated, whatever it may be. There were personal grievances. And as a result of that, they started, so to speak, and there's a large group of boys. I had a very small contingent of this, 5 boys, but it's a large group of boys, unfortunately, we have that are disenchanted. And we have to recognize that they're disenchanted, but at the same time, we have to bring them back to see their real self. So these boys were sitting at my table, and I'm watching them, and I'm trying to kind of call their attention to themselves. That they should recognize some element in themselves that they don't actually admit to. And I asked the following question, and I'm asking you the same question. If there were to happen an atomic explosion, all of a sudden atomic explosion that will eliminate everything on the earth in one instant. There's nothing there. In one instant, everything is eliminated. Would you think this would be a tragic occurrence? Would you consider this to be a tragedy? So my intent was to engage them in conversation so that they would see that they themselves see a deeper element in the value of life than just the experience. They were honest and by far not stupid kids. And they gave it a little thought and they said, nobody suffered, nobody absolutely suffered, not one instant. Everything just went off into the thin air. But nothing happened. Then nothing happened. That's the response I got. They were debating among themselves. One of them spoke up. The other one says, I agree, I don't agree. But basically, this was, generally speaking, the answer. And I was thinking to myself, hey, how do I respond to this? I didn't. And after before praying to whatever this, I walked away and I gave it some very deep thought. And I said, what's wrong with that answer? Adarabba, fold it. What's wrong with it? Isn't it true that we're constantly concerned about what's going to be for breakfast tomorrow? Do away with the problem. If the whole, and this is something which is very serious. This is in fact the perception that the world, the scientific world, believes is the force behind all human development. The concern of any kind of discomfort. The medical field today is very highly developed and it's constantly growing. One of the most vibrant growth in the medical field today is pain control. Not health, pain. You go to a dentist. I've been going to dentists since I'm a kid, which was before many of you were born. I have to admit. I never took a needle to drill my tooth. So it's a little uncomfortable, big deal. I'd rather suffer the discomfort of the drill than walk around for 2 hours with a blown up mouth, or 5 hours. And it was never suggested to me. This is the normal of life. You have a cavity, you have to fix it. It'll be a little uncomfortable, and afterwards you'll cover the cavity and you'll be back to normal. There came a time when the dentist stopped asking questions. The first thing he takes a needle. I said, wait a second, what is this? I'm going to drill you. Please, put it away. I can take it. I can take it. You sure? Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Wow.
Believe me, it's nothing to wow about.
It's scary.
It's not.
It hurts. With due respect, it hurts you listening to this. It hurts. You actually did this?
You see what our mentality is? I actually did it. I shocked the dentist too because they have all the young fry. They all know what it means. Oh, it's uncomfortable. Anyway, put that as it may. Yes,
So it's the ideal of Mach Shalit Amaleh?
The ideal of not being bound, being limited to only comfortable situations. You do what you have to do. It's true. I mean, my growing up experience was very, very different than Baruch Hashem yours, and I don't wish it on anyone. And Baruch Hashem for that we have a different situation. But to be so gung-ho, so focused on it, I think we have to understand what's going on. We have to understand what's going on. In any case, when we think, each one of us, I'm challenging each one of you, because we want to talk about not what it says, but what we are. Where is our own mind, our own heart? When you contemplate this answer, contemplate, you know what that means? When you contemplate this simple, honest answer, for I received them, doesn't that shock you?
Would you say
Huh?
Would you say it again, the last part? What was the answer? What was the question?
The answer was, if nobody suffered, then let the world go up in smoke. Nothing happened.
And what was the question?
If you drop a nuke.
Without being able to explain why and wherefore. But I just want to know, as human beings, as a Yid, as people who live, who wake up in the morning and say, oh, a new day. Doesn't that shock you that in fact this seems to be the reality? And I can't even refute it. I can't countersay it. I can't explain why it's wrong. I'm asking, come on, does it shock you or it doesn't shock you? Are you accepting living in a world of this nature? There's absolutely no sense to it except for the fact that you're trying to avoid pain?
Of course not.
Thank you. Anybody else will second that? Excuse me? It's not a rhetorical question. It's a personal question to you. Why is it a rhetorical question?
I try to avoid pain, Rabbi.
Of course you try to. Is that all that your life is about?
Oh, gosh, no.
What?
Gosh, no.
Gosh, no, right? That's not all it's about.
It's
All right.
just the sine qua non, the basic, the bare minimum I want.
And of course you don't want to. I'm not arguing that point. Not arguing that point. All I'm saying is this what your life stands for? Would you accept saying that my whole effort in living is due to the fact that I'm avoiding pain?
No.
And this is what justifies all the effort in my life. And if you are told what I said just now, that somebody answered the question, no, nothing happened if the world is destroyed as long as nobody suffered. It's not tragic. Nothing happened. This is why I'm asking, does it shock you to think that to have this kind of answer and you can't really stand up and refute it? Why is it wrong? What's wrong with the answer?
Because what's the positive then? What are you there for?
I don't know. There's nothing.
You're only defining it in negative terms. No
That's
pain,
right.
but presence of
Other
love.
Rabbi, show me what it is.
Yeah.
Your soul,
I mean, you're saying you're disappointed. Why are you disappointed? But does it shock you?
yeah, but your soul going to believe.
I'm sorry?
Your soul, right? Inside, going to believe forever. Your body is disappeared.
Wherever my soul is going to live has nothing to do with the piece of bread that I'm eating right now.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm eating bread right now so I won't be hungry. Right? Am I eating bread right now in order to give longevity to my soul?
Well, that break
Yeah,
can
but
get
you're
you.
God of God, so one second.
What?
That break can get you energy to study more Torah.
And what is that about? If living in the world has no other sense but for the fact that I'm not going to have pain. And if it just went up in smoke, nothing happened. Do you understand this question? I mean, you're all intelligent people.
Yeah.
These people who have no problem with this idea, they would also have no problem to take someone and kill that person in a painless
No. Come on. Let's not go to the sick mentality. I'm asking a very simple thing.
What's the difference?
Yeah, what is the difference? It's a natural, logical extension. Euthanasia, the leap, it's not that far a leap, I think.
Please, stay focused on the question. I'm not asking in terms of human activity. I'm asking in terms of human consciousness. Does it shock you to think that if the world were to go up in smoke without anyone suffering, then it's not tragic, nothing happened?
That shocks me. Yes.
That shocks you. That's what I'm asking to know. It shocks you.
It's a terrible thing.
It's a terrible thing. Okay? Now tell me, after you admit that you recognize a terrible thing and it shocks you, what is so shocking about it? Why are you shocked? Tell me from your personal life.
Oxymoron. It's like,
Walking on earth.
So what's the life?
as a human being, please don't tell me it says so, I heard this, there's an eternal soul. You as a human being,
We value our life.
this is my point. We can learn, Kdoshim tiye ki kodesh ani Hashem. Be holy. What does it mean to me? Am I holy or am I just a plain human being who doesn't value life to begin with? Get me out of it. What is the answer? What's wrong with this answer? Why is he at fault?
It's nihilist.
I'm sorry?
It's nihilist. That nothing
Thank you very
matters.
much. What does that mean?
That nothing matters. at the end
Then
of the
nothing
day.
matters. It doesn't. Tell me how is that wrong?
How's that shocking to you personally, or
It's
how's
not
it wrong in
honest.
abstract?
No, no.
It's wrong. It's not honest. Because people are not being honest with themselves. Because every day they go through hardships, and they can easily put an end to the hardships. Everybody.
All I'm asking you, please understand the question, okay? I force you to answer the question. Is it shocking or is it not shocking?
Shocking.
Shocking. I'm asking, where does that shock come from?
It implies there is no meaning or value to life as is now.
Yes, and therefore,
And therefore, to us, since we
you tell me from your own logic, where is the value, how this is false, how this is inaccurate.
sunrise, the fact that it's a sunny day right now, was lousy, raining this morning. I was in a terrible mood this morning, all of yesterday and part of the night before. I'm in a great mood.
Now
today.
you're in a great mood, so you suffered. Now you don't suffer anymore. That's exactly the same thing that we're saying.
And if I were to miss out on that sunrise or that sun,
You'd feel better about it. That's right.
No,
That's
I wouldn't
exactly.
do that. It'd be gone. It would be a waste.
It's exactly the same thing. The sunrise was beautiful, and if it had not been raining, it would be even more beautiful. And now, thank God, I can appreciate it. It's exactly what we're saying. If the world would have gone out, then I would have missed out on sunrise.
Yeah. You can't appreciate the good if you even know that.
What's the good? Sunrise.
Learning, having fun,
What's
appreciating the nice weather, being with good friends, good people, teachers.
And for that, the whole world is worth going through this thing.
I think so.
Why do we
I have no choice, but I think so anyway.
Do you all agree with that?
No.
Come on, this is exactly what I'm saying. The Rebbe Rashab, the Rebbe Maharash. Everybody knows Rebbe Maharash?
You know.
Huh? You don't know, okay. There was our Rebbe, then there was the Friedrich Rebbe, his father-in-law, then there was the Rebbe Rashab, his father, and then the Rebbe Maharash, the grandfather.
Oh, but
Huh?
that's the Song of Tzedek, no? Rabbi Rush is the Song of Tzedek.
Excuse me? Rebbe Maharash is Tzemach Tzedek's son. Rebbe Maharash is Tzemach Tzedek's son.
Oh, the Song of
Tzemach
Tzedek was
Tzedek's
the
son.
third, was the third, and Rabbi
Yeah,
Rush
the
was
Maharash
the
is
All
the right.
okay.
So there's a little episode. The Rebbe Rashab, the Friedrich Rebbe's father, had a brother, an older brother. His name was Azor Reb Zalman. They were very close in age, and they were both brilliant, very brilliant people, boys, you could say, even though they were, still they were young kids. And they once stood between themselves and they debated. What is the difference between a Yid and a Goy? It's a debate. And the Rebbe, the father of Maharash, overheard their debate. I think he overheard the debate, or they came to him to help him out. I don't remember
I read the
exactly.
story 2 days ago.
Huh?
I read the story 2 days ago.
Terrific. So he called them in, and he said, "I'll demonstrate to you the difference." And he calls in. There was a Goyisher wagon driver, whatever it is that was in there. And he asked him, Ivan, that's a common Russian name, Ivan. Ivan, did you eat today? Yes. Did you eat well? Yeah. why did you eat? So that I would live. Why do you need to live? So I can have a shot of whiskey. The epitome of life's experience. In line with this, I want to tell you a brief story, a little detour. There was a Farbrengen where the Rebbe Rashab was Farbrengen. Peter Gebber's father, Rebbe Rashab, was Farbrengen. I think it was in Moscow. In the middle of the night, they were Farbrengen, and suddenly they realized they have no more mashke. The bottle is empty. So the Rebbe Rashab sent out the Frierdiker Rebbe to get mashke in the street. Okay. Frierdiker Rebbe was not a pushover by any means. And he was walking through the streets of Moscow and couldn't find any place to buy, whatever it is. He chanced upon a drunk in the gutter, lying in the gutter, a drunk. By the way, for those who know Russian history, this was a very common sight. A drunk in the gutter is nothing unusual. So he's walking, he's seeing the drunk, and next to this drunk is standing a half-full bottle of mashke, of whiskey, vodka. They didn't have whiskey, vodka. So he walks over to this drunk and he says, "Sell me this half a bottle, and I'll pay you for the entire, as much as the whole bottle costs." No way. No deal. No deal. So then he says to him, I don't remember what, there were several steps, and I said, I'll buy you a whole case of mashke. Then finally he says, I'll buy you all the mashke that's in this store. No deal. No deal. So the Rebbe walks away, and he continues to search some source of mashke. And he's disappointed, he can't find anything. So finally he comes back to this drunk. And he looks at him and he says, "Okay, you don't want to sell the mashke, no. But tell me why. After all, it's no comparison what I'm going to give you to what you have. Why not?" So the drunk turns to him and said, "You want to buy me this whole store of whiskey? With this half a bottle, the whole Moscow is mine."
It's good. It's true.
Okay. So the Rebbe came back to the Farbrengen, and the Rebbe and the Rashab asked him, "Nu, did you get mashke?" He says, "Mashke I didn't get, but I got you a good story." So this Ivarmi says, "I drink a mashke, I have the whole Moscow. The entire world is mine. This is real." Okay. So then the Rebbe Rashab dismisses him, and he calls him the Mishamish. He was a Posher, a very simple Jew, hard carving, very, very simple Jew. So he asked him, "Nu, did you eat today?" He says, "Yes." "Did you eat well?" He says, "I don't know what you mean well. I'm not hungry, but I said." "Why did you eat?" "So I could live." "Why do you need to live for?" "I can say, give people Tilim, can learn a Perek Mishnayos." So the Rebbe dismisses him. And then he turns to the two boys and he points out, "See, this is the difference. So, what is the point? You could look at things from within the context of the world, and all there is a shot of whiskey. That's ultimately the positive experience in the world. I remember I was still a young kid. I came to this country, and there was a Yiddish newspaper, I saw it before, a Yiddish newspaper, so I picked up a Yiddish newspaper, and I was reading letters to the editor, and this lady is writing whatever the writing was, and then she says, and afterwards we had dinner, and then we went out to the theater. And then she says, what else is there in your life than the little bit of spiritual experience? Went on to the theater. What else is there in life but a little spiritual experience? Do you think going to the theater justifies all what's going on in the world?
No, but it makes it a lot sweeter.
Yes. But do you think it justifies the world to go and all through this, everything that's going on, just to know that you should be able to go to a theater after dinner?
If anything non-spiritual does, I would say that does, but no, it doesn't.
No. See, you miss the point. You don't want to be honest. I'm asking a very simple question. Can you fault the answer that I got from this boy? Can you find fault with it? Where is he wrong?
He's wrong in the fact that he's lying.
He's not lying.
He is lying because he can choose to end his life at any time, painlessly also.
No, you were just dreaming. Tell me what's wrong? You're discussing it right here. Says, you have spiritual experience. You go to the theater.
Theater is the spice of life. It makes life worth living in a non-spiritual way.
Worth living? Okay, life is worth living. So then you don't have to suffer the drilling of the tooth, and you have spiritual life. That justifies the creation of the world, maintenance of the world, and then therefore if the world should go up in flames without suffering, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. Because now the theater is eliminated from life. That's a tragedy?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
I really do.
Okay, do you all agree with this?
No.
Okay, Baruch Hashem.
Have you ever seen Vita?
I'm asking you, what's going on? Are you thinking here?
The whole purpose of life should not be some particular pleasure, it should be some kind.
No. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking you for an honest focus on my question. I'm not asking for the answer of life. Focus on my question. Do you agree or disagree that the fact that there is a theater that you can experience justifies the continued maintenance of the world? Huh? Disagree. That's all I'm asking.
It wouldn't be the worst reason, though. It wouldn't be the worst reason.
Okay.
It's irrelevant. Just asking yes or no question.
I'm asking you a question. Now, if in fact they come to the conclusion that really all there is the experience, the spiritual experience of the theater, does that shock you? Does that shock you? That's all the world's about. Does that shock you?
Yeah.
Of course.
That would be pretty shocking. This is who we are. When we wake up in the morning and we say, thank you, God, for raising the sun again, because the theater is going to continue to function.
It wouldn't be that funny if it was true.
Huh?
I said it wouldn't be that funny if it was true. I'm saying.
No. See, you missed the point. Please, okay.
No, I know.
I'm not coming to conclusions. I'm trying. See, the whole purpose of asking questions like this is to make you face yourselves. You can open a book and say, Rabbi, look, it says here such and such. It says here such and such. Believe me, I don't need addresses where to find the answers. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to make you face your own mind, to see that you have a soul, or that you have a mind, that you have an intellect. And, what does your intellect tell you? Forget about, so to speak, the conventional answers. What does your own intellect tell you? These boys were very honest, and they said, my intellect tells me that nothing happened. There's no tragedy. Nothing happened. If there is suffering, then it's terrible. There's no suffering, nothing happened. Now we have a counter answer. No, it's tragic because the theater will be eliminated. Among other things. Of the same, the baseball game, the football game, what is it called? The silver cup. What is the
Yes.
Hockey.
hockey? Oh, hockey. That's terrible. Okay.
Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup.
Why is it not enough to say that life will be eliminated?
On what is life?
Why do we need to search for?
I'm asking. We don't need anything. You tell me. We don't need
Why
anything.
do we attach a meaning to life? Isn't every moment of life the pursuit of the
What is it?
meaning of life?
What is it? What is it? Here's an answer. Life is the experience of the theater.
Among other things.
We acknowledge
Among other things,
that's
the
not
baseball,
good
a
meaning of
good
life.
hit, a good catch. Okay, so what's life otherwise?
Bike riding.
I don't know. But that's
You don't
what
know.
we find out.
Okay, all right, fine.
I think that's our thing.
No, that's a quote.
No, what if someone takes it seriously?
What?
If they take it seriously.
How do you take it seriously? Do you relate to that personally?
I don't.
Yeah.
He's honest.
At all.
Here's your neighbor says, I don't relate to it.
One of Rabbi Lister's smiles, one of his shirim, one of Rabbi Arias for Brevins. That would be a tragedy. Yes.
Similar to the theater going on there.
Better than the theater, actually.
Okay.
It's
It's
theater,
okay.
It's great. It's great. It's
One second. Okay. Here's my point. Okay. I know you will never put, so to speak, against the wall the questions of this nature. But these are questions that you have to ask yourself. Not because of a question, not because you're questioning, but because you are adult individual with your own intellect, and you have to test things that you're learning against your own intellect. Do I see this or I don't see it? Is it real to me or is it not? And if God forbid it's not, then I have to seek what's so real about it. Why should I be excited about it? Please help me. I don't mean Chas v'Sholom question to create doubt. I mean in order to bring out our own strength, our own insight. The real reason I'm asking these questions is actually not to arouse curiosity and so forth. The real reason I'm asking this question is as follows. Here we've come to an open discussion, and we are able to say, yeah, the theater, this is one of the great experiences of life. The sunrise, beautiful weather, a good hit in baseball. Okay? And then you say, this is one of the great experiences of life. And then after that we come to realize that this is a major experience in life. And this is what the world is all about. We ourselves, in contemplating this, are shocked. Hey, this is all it is. The reason we are shocked, and here's the important thing, the reason we are shocked in contemplating this is not because this is insignificant, not because it's stupid or whatever it is. It is that we ourselves actually recognize that there is something infinitely greater than all of that. But we fail to identify it. But really, in our own intellect, we recognize that there is something infinitely greater than all of these things. To the extent that we are shocked to think that this is what it appears to be. And I want to explain something. Okay, this will hopefully, leave you room for thinking. I want to explain to you something. There are two distinct ways that we identify the world and ourselves and everything in the world. One is the worldly aspect, the other is the godly aspect. very distinct principles. The worldly aspect is the experience, the beauty of the theater, or whatever it is, the beauty of the sunrise, the absence of suffering, the enjoyment of whatever we can enjoy in the world. Beauty. And then when we contemplate that this is all the world is, this is all what I'm living for, we ourselves get shocked. Why? Because at the same time, we have a totally different insight, which we have a difficulty identifying, but it is there. That this insight is talking about an infinite reality, not an experienced reality, how you experience the pleasantness or the unpleasantness. A true godly presence. That godly presence is present in the world, and it's present within ourselves, each individual that we are, and it's present in our own intellect, and that is the guy who seems it's impossible to saying. You're missing the whole point. That is the guy that screams, what do you mean, the elimination? This is beyond elimination. This is an indestructible reality. This is God himself. This is why we get shocked when we think, well, that's all it is. Because we cannot refute it logically. But we see, hey, it's by far not what it is. That's not what I'm living for. There is a popular advertisement song. The best thing of waking up
This part of Folgers in your cup.
Folgers in your cup.
We have instant coffee downstairs.
It's Folgers.
Is it?
Anyway.
I'd like you to think to yourselves and say, you know what gets me out of bed? And you know why I want to wake up in the morning? For the Folgers.
Folgers just helps you wake up.
Okay? And then when you think about that, you say, what kind of low life are you? What are you? Are you for real? Is this who you are? Is this what your godly soul is all about? Or you know, and this is what the shock is. The shock is, this is the point, okay? We have limited time. The shock is because it's false. It's not true. Our worldly experience is only so to speak, the speck of dust that covers over what is really going up in our intellect. This is what distinguishes the human being from the animal. We spoke about this many, many times from different angles. I pointed out the human being stands up on 2 feet. How does he stand on 2 feet? It's not logical. If he were to support himself on the ground, on the earth, he would stand on 4, like the animal. Because he doesn't support himself on the earth. He supports himself on the spirit. This is what holding a human being up. Okay. There is an infinite amount to speak on this. I want to bring it back to the Parsha, and I want to bring it to the point that I want to bring out. The Parsha says, Daber Bnei Yisrael, speak to all the Yidden. Moshe Rabbeinu is instructed by Hashem, speak to the Yidden, and you should tell them, Kdoshim tihiyu, you must be holy. Why? Because Kodesh Ani Hashem Mekadesh. Ani Hashem Elokeichem. But because I am holy, he must be holy. What is the meaning of these words? The meaning of these words is, remember who you are. Remember what's really going on in your intellect. Don't underestimate, don't undervalue yourself. Why? Because I am within that intellect. And if you doubt whether you can live up to this, I guarantee you, you can. Because I am there. It's a perfectly logical, perfectly justified statement. Be holy because I am holy. There is much to be elaborated, much to be said on this score. To bring it down, so to speak, bring it down to earth. When we are, so to speak, on the low ebb, when we slip morally, intellectually, when we lose sight of who we are, and we become aware of our worldly view, and that becomes the defining factor of my life. I need a worldly experience. I need a theater. I need a good hit. Otherwise, what's life about? It's incumbent. Incumbent means it's a must. It's obligatory for us to remember who we are. And by just remembering and by contemplating these questions that we've discussed, and then some, realizing that if we really accept that view, we are shocked. And the reason we are shocked is because we have such reality, such truth in our own intellect that gets shocked by these kind of thoughts. That is the strength, the human strength, that is the godly strength within us. That strength is able to pull us out from any ditch, from any impurity, and can lift us to the point where we want to be holy because God is holy. That is the element within us. Not because we are told you're going to get reward in the eternity of the soul. Within us, we will not be able to tolerate any impurity. Because it's contrary to us. It's contrary to the reality that we are. All aspects of the Torah you learned the previous week, and this week it continues with the previous week, Tazir, Mitzvah, all kinds of different things that make a person, they can bring impurity to a person. Why are they impure? What's impurity about? Can a donkey become impure?
No. He's already there.
I'm sorry?
He's already there.
No, a sheep.
Okay, no.
Cannot become impure. Why can a human being become impure?
Nefesh Elokis in him.
It's given choice to do right or wrong.
To receive God.
Because he is godly. He has a different status. That's why he can become impure. At first glance, we don't see the difference. This is a body, this is a body. No. The donkey and the sheep is a body. The human being is not a body. The body is only the casing, the tool by which he acts in the world. This is not the human being. It's absolutely imperative. Imperative? Yeah? Imperative means absolutely must. For each one of us to contemplate and know who we are. When we say Moida Ani Lefonecha in the morning when we wake up, and the thought of the folgers come to ourselves, we should be shocked. Rightfully so. Not to be embarrassed, I'm not trying to embarrass anybody, but it should shock us. Why? Because here, I'm really a human being. I really have a soul. And where do I get the soul? The all living God who returned my soul to me. This is the soul that I have. This is real. This is not the spirituality of the theater. This is the godly reality. That's what Moida Ani Lefonecha is about. This is how we start our day, and this is how we carry it on, and this is how we end our day when we say Hamapil. When we say Hamapil, we entrust our souls back to God. That's what the Kriyas Mishalah meeting is. This is not a momentary solution to all human problems. It's a momentary answer, a source of the solution, but it's not a solution. The solution is when we actually work on this, we actually think about this. The solution is whenever we think of something impure, we say, hey, how does it belong to me? I have nothing to do with this. This is for the donkey. This is for the swan. This is for the goy, not for me. This is not who I am really. It's impossible. I'm shocked. Why am I shocked? Because I have a different kind of reality in my mind. That's why I'm shocked.
What's the next step though? Like, how do we get rid of it? I mean, it's not that easy to just say, boom, that's it.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's not a solution, it's a source of the solution. There is no, you don't get rid of it. Don't expect it to rise up and to dissolve. But remember, you have the strength upon which to stand. You have it. And when you lose sight of it, give yourself a pinch and remind yourself of who you are. And remember, the Torah says, Kdoshim tiyu ki kodesh oni. It's a pasuk in the Torah. And it makes sense.
Think about.
Excuse me?
There's a lot to think about.
There's a lot to think about it. The main thing is to act upon it. That's the main thing. When I wake up in the morning, this Moed Ani is extremely important. The Chacham have set up our day, giving us the clear view of who we are and how we live. We wake up in the morning, we didn't wake up because our bodies got rested up and now our bodies wake up. We woke up because God restored the soul into us. And the first reality that we greet when we wake up is not the sunrise, it's not the beautiful weather, it's God. That's our reality.
us and give us the strength.
All right. This is what waking up means. And this is something which is so real to us that when we contemplate otherwise, we get shocked. The reason we get shocked is because this is not who we truly are. This is the important thing to remember. We get shocked. If we would think that the destruction of the entire world in an instant is insignificant as long as nobody suffered, you say, what? That's the reality that I see? Cannot be. Why can it be? It can be if I looked at the world only from a worldly perspective. I don't see anything else. The most I can think of is the theater. But that's not, I see something completely different. There is an eternity within ourselves. There's a reality within ourselves. There's an eternity and reality in everything that exists. I once pointed out, this is already on the lighter side, we have to come back to quote-unquote to reality. It's an interesting phenomenon. Do you realize that this is something which scientifically, the scientist also agrees to this, admits to it, and he can get out of it. It's true. A physical entity, this piece of paper, cannot be destroyed. You realize that? It cannot be destroyed. What is this?
Matter.
Matter. And what's matter, my dear friend? Why can it not be destroyed?
Converted into energy. Time and space.
Why can it not be destroyed? If this is something which made itself, anything that makes itself can be destroyed. The reason it cannot be destroyed is because it didn't make itself. Because God wants it to be, and that's indestructible. That's the truth of the world, the physical world. And it's certainly the truth about ourselves. And to contemplate the destruction of the world is so contrary to the reality that we perceive, if we can't even contemplate it, because it's indestructible. Not because the world is indestructible, but because the godly element in the world is indestructible.
Yeah. No matter what you do to it,
It's impossible. It's indestructible. If the world is indestructible, the Jew is indestructible. And therefore each one of us is indestructible. And therefore each one of us is holy because God is holy. And we are capable to maintain that holiness, that purity. Even if we failed, it has not destroyed us. We can rise up again. And ultimately we can stand our ground. We must stand our ground. We must live up to what we are. I don't know if I have to go more specific. Everybody knows what impurity is and what human degradation is, moral degradation and so forth. And if it appears to any one of us that this is insurmountable, you can't overcome it, you can't fight, is to remember that when you think it's insurmountable, you're talking about not the real person. talking about a person who sees only the epitome of life is the theater. But that's not what the person is. And therefore, the strength that I have is really unlimited. The Jew is indestructible. We, in our day, you're younger, but still you know the story. The Holocaust, the Holocaust survivors. Did you ever read anything about the Holocaust? Did you ever really see the Holocaust survivors, what they looked like after the camps were liberated? Skeletons. I'm sorry? And they were able to revive spiritually, morally, and build new families. People who have lost families, children, brothers, sisters, everybody. And they were able to rebuild it. Where from? Where from? Let us not compromise the God that's within us. Let us not downgrade and say all we have is a little bit of Folgers coffee. We have to stand up to our own weakness with our strength. With our own strength. On a daily, momentary basis. And I can say, as we always finish, with this, Mitzvah Hashem, each one of us will be successful. Each one of us will rise up to the point we'll be holy because God is holy. And we'll build holy families, and we'll have holy lives. Please forgive me if I offended anyone.